Hey y'all, so I wanted to get on here and tell y'all my experience with African Americans being African. And yeah, let's just get into it. So y'all, I literally thought that the diaspora wars were fake. I thought they were fake. I didn't think they were real. I'm chilling. I'm like, I don't think all this internet shit is real, blah, blah, blah. I fly from my hometown, I get here, and I realized, oh, no, no, no. I'm so sorry to say, but Black Americans look very much down on Africans. They look down on them, and let me tell you how I know this, okay? So at the PWI I go to, people, and I don't want no comments telling me, oh, you can tell, you can tell. People here can't tell where I'm from. People here, okay? Especially because in the first half of the semester, I had straight hair, straight wavy hair. And it was just a sew-in, but whatever. People here can't tell where I'm from, especially the Black Americans here. I've gotten that I'm Afro-Latina. I've gotten that. I already can tell the comments, okay? I've gotten it, and I've gotten that I am Caribbean or Jamaican, or they just think I'm something else. They've never thought I was African whatsoever. I think it's because I don't have any of the cues. I don't dress weird. I don't dress a certain way, and I don't talk a certain way. I had made friends with this one guy. He is Black American, and we just chilling. I told him I'm from Nigeria. Like, that's where I'm from. He's like, first, he said, you don't look Nigerian. Already red flag. I was already like, what do Nigerians look like? Sir, inform me of what Nigerians look like, because I'm pretty sure I look so fucking Nigerian. So I said, that's because you don't know what Nigerians look like. That shut him up. And then from then on, we just kept talking, and he would make slight comments. Oh, you look this, you look Afro-Latin, you look different. I think he trying to separate me from being African so damn bad. I was like, no, I'm African, point blank, period. We were then taking a walk outside, and he was like, oh, just one advice, don't hang out with those Africans. I was like, what? I was like, I'm African, right? Or the reasons he gave for that was like, oh, they're so like weird, they're so fresh off the boat, like they're like they so like don't hang out with them, hang out with our people and shit. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, I'm African, right? Like, what is with all this comment? So I was like, boom, that's just one person, right? No, literally every single Black American I've met has very derogatory, like prejudiced ideas about Africans. In general, they literally, I think they just saying a lot of stuff like the women aren't cute, like that they're just like weirdos, and I don't know. It's just a lot, y'all. The diaspora wars are real as fuck. The moment a Black American finds out that you're African, it's raps for you. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but that's just my experience. Let me know if you guys have had similar experiences. Actually, one more thing I want to add is like where I am at. I feel like, because I'm not gonna expose my location, but these are Cali and Nevada kids I'm talking to. Cali and Nevada kids, okay? Or Las Vegas kids, right? And they will just tell me shit like, oh, you so whitewashed, you hang around with them white people. Or like they tell me shit like, they can tell I've never been through no struggles, that I'm from the suburbs. And that's not even an insult, but it's like, to them, it's an insult. And then this one guy was like, oh, I could tell you never been through shit because you just so whitewashed. Anyways, that's just what I have to say to y'all. Take it or leave it. I love how you guys got under my comments and disproved absolutely nothing I said. In fact, y'all proved it by leaving racist, derogatory, and discriminatory comments under my video.
As an African, Black American looked so down. They look so down on Africans. Do Africans not look down on Black Americans too? Do Africans not look down on Black Americans? I've done a video here where you literally see an African man telling Black American woman to go get a job, that she is lazy, that most of their children are products of one night stand. So, what audacity is that? And you still want these same Black Americans to embrace every single one of you, respect and honor every single one of you. Anyways, I don't know how you people think, but welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share, and credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. And guys, with that being said, let's watch what other immigrants have to say. I'll be back with commentaries.
As a Kenyan American, I want to explain why Black history and Black culture has always been so important to me because since I was 7, my parents divorced, so I stopped having that Kenyan American experience because I live with my dad and his wife from Atlanta and her stepdaughter that basically said anything that I do is weird if she don't think it's cool. If it's not something that she's into, I'm lame and I'm corny, and if I talk a certain way or if I dress a certain way or if I don't know certain things, like I'm lame and I'm corny. So it turned pretty much my entire childhood learning how to get my black card and learning how to fit in unless I wanted to be bullied in my own house. And after that, I felt like I finally learned how to fit in and I finally learned how to have a persona that, matched what she wanted me to be like. And I always felt like, damn, like this is what I have to do. I have to like be this person. And either way, I still moved past that, and I went to a majority black school anyways, and I had a best friend that was black, and going to her family and seeing how her family interacts and feeling like having a second mom, and feeling like I'm learning the importance of mac and cheese, Kool-Aid ratios, cornbread, like eating even at home, like taco salads, like just things like that, where even Uno house rules, like everything felt like I had to it had to come from a sense of not only it was black culture, but there was history tied to it that was always made sure, like if there's in the black community, it was like every part of the culture you need to understand the history. And I think that was something that was always ingrained in my head. So the more that I grew up, and not only did I have more black friends, but I have more black experiences. Like, why am I in the hood with my plug, like in the trap, like smoking, just chilling, hotboxing? Like, why am I on the block just chilling, just for no reason? Why do I have friends that I'm being a getaway driver while it's the middle of the night and they trying to hit licks in people's cars in this nice neighborhood? We get pulled over. Like, why do I got a friend that is trying to put me on to scamming and trying to help me, buy some stuff with her boosters, and learning how to pay for food stamps, and just teaching me about, like twerking on cars in a club that they just shot up last week. It's like I'm really always felt like an outsider that was learning how to assimilate and learning how to be a part of this experience, that I have no other ties besides I'm just here because like I didn't see my Kenyan family except for holidays because they live forever away, and I'm an only child, so I just have no African friends. I had no African community. So outside of that, the more I just became on my own and grew up, it was like I just wanted to be watch everything black, listen to everything black, support everything black, learn about black history, read books, listen to podcasts, go out of my way to look up history and watch videos, and just feel like if I'm gonna benefit off of the culture and having fun, and just feeling like I'm a part of a community that not only am I a part of, but it's like it's self-sustaining, because the more that you enjoy black culture, the more reason that you have to fall in love with the true history and the meaning of what it is to be black in America, and the history behind each generation, and how slavery and racism impacted them, and how it not only shaped them, but it created this resilience and brilliance, and just creating these achievements that have just truly are mind blowing in many different ways whenever it comes to not only pop culture but just inventions and things like that. So overall, like I've always just felt like disconnected from my Kenyan heritage, despite the fact, I have been to Kenya about 3 times, and I do plan on spending more time learning about it. I've been spending more time, not only just that, but African history. I do want to eventually make sure I know my tribal language and Swahili. Like I have it set in my head. I'm going to make that happen within the next, whenever I have the time to really go there and practice and learn. So just being able to open up that door to being a Kenyan whenever also my family, I never had that at home. I never had that with friends. So that's really why I've always just felt so pro black everything, and I only want it if it's black, and I only care about it if it's black, and I only want to support it if it's black. Like to me, that's why. But also, yeah, I think that's why I always feel like talking about it as a Kenyan-American, because I understand a lot of immigrants that had immigrant kids with immigrant parents in the same house. They did not grow up the way that I did. And it's just something that I've learned to be like, okay, that's how you are. And I've always been accepted. I've always been invited to the club. Like I've always been invited to the cookout, and I've just learned that, okay, I can do that, but it's also important for me to learn my history. So yeah.
As an African living in the United States, I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans, because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, "You're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside," as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand, after living here for 8 years, that black in the United States is a very specific criteria, and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are black. But Africans don't put black high up on their identity well as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work, okay? So I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here, because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with Southern Baptist white racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country. And if anything, for us as Africans to feel like that's my brother, that's my brethren, or whatever, you have to come from the same tribe as us, because we have so many Black people around, we don't automatically pre-select for Black. But Black Americans don't have so many Black people around, have had to defend and protect their culture amidst a dominant white culture, and so they already pre-select and are overprotective for Black. And so that's why I think at the core of it, there's a deep misunderstanding because of not realizing that we put where we put our identity markers and what we put first and what we prioritize are so different culturally because of our differences in trauma, realistically. And so it does make sense that Black Americans will be like, oh, my people, my brethrens, come here. And African Americans, or Africans, coming to the United States are like, I'm just trying to make it here. Like, it's a lot of work to immigrate to the United States. And so y'all can stay over there, and I can see why it's hurtful, and I can see why it's taken personally, and I can see the deep misunderstanding and the betrayal that African Americans feel. But it's unfortunate, and that's just a reality. But if we can talk about it from this perspective, I think we can get to a better understanding. But I also believe that Africans that spend enough time in the United States get to this compassion and understanding of the Black American community, because it is a very unique and specific set of circumstances for a culture to grow and to develop.
Unless you've lived in America for some time, you will not understand why Black Americans move the way that they do. And I'm saying this as a non-Black American who's lived in America for quite some time. Because prior to moving to America, I was a similar way. I was like, what is this emphasis on race? Like, it's not that deep. Let it go, right? Because I'm going off of my lived experience, right? And visiting a place is not the same as living in a place, I'm going off my lived experience of different cultures coming together, being in harmony, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I don't know what this great, division is, because again, my experience is different. But telling somebody who has that lived experience that, well, it's not valid, because your lived experience is different, is going to be quite invalidating. So, and I say for some time specifically, because you could live here maybe like 6 months, a year, and you haven't experienced anything, right? And outside of the US, you have to understand that what you're seeing is a very curated experience in the media. Granted, with the rise of social media, we're opening a lot more doors, right? But we could even see like what's going on now with Black Americans and Black Scots. To me, it's jolly. I loved it. I've loved seeing it. And people are like, they didn't know Black Americans knew Black Scots existed. We're in every part of the world, right? But it's just exciting to see people that, even me as a Caribbean person, I was like, oh, this is exciting. Seeing an accent on a different face, than what you would think for that region is something exciting. It's something fun. But people are using it to almost make like Americans seem dumb or whatever. But unless you've lived here, then you start to be like, yeah, they're white people. They're a little bit different than my white people. They're a little different than those other white people over there. You know what I'm saying? Because I had never thought about, and I've talked about this before, I've never thought about being Black until I moved to America. It's not a thought that crossed my mind because I'm from a majority Black country. So it's not a thought that's going to cross my mind, and I'm not experiencing racism in my country, in a majority Black country. But I experienced it here. I'll tell you that for sure. So unless you've lived here, unless you've had that experience, unless you know the cultural significance of slavery, which as a Black person in every country you should, but it's different. Even though we all experience it, we experience different types. And the slavery in America specifically was like the worst form of slavery, because you broke down the person down to their core, stripped them of their culture, etc. Whereas in other regions, we didn't have that. We maintained quite a bit of our culture, and Africa and the Caribbean, etc. So we still had that to hold on to. But here it was almost stripped away entirely down to the core, right? So identity is a very big thing in America in a different way than it is for us in the Caribbean, right? So I would say sometimes you don't have to be a part of every conversation. Sometimes you just sit back and watch. And can we please get rid of this diaspora war? Black people from all the world, we're different. Every Black person is not the same, but we all have some of the same lived experiences, okay? But the diaspora wars are tired. They are tired. They are exhausting. But what's crazy is like when you have people of different culture living in the same place, it's all Gucci. It's when we seem to be in different regions of the world, it can't click. It's not clicking too good.
Y'all, the video I made of fear of being African and talking about how Black Americans want to boycott Africa They are pissed in the comments. They're telling Africans to go back to their country. They're saying that they were never from Africa. Generations of their greats have been in America, etc., etc. And you want to know what the funniest thing is? One, not only do I not care, because that's not the point. Two, no one ever said that you guys, by fire, by force, need to be African, modern day African. That's why I'm like, I no longer am engaging with these people, because I understand the intelligence is here and they're way down the road, because it's not clicking. It's not. Notice how I even call them Black American in my video for a reason, because I understand and identify that they are not African American. Like, you guys understand that these definitions were given to us and y'all don't even know the definition behind the word. I'm not calling y'all African Americans. I literally call you Black Americans for a reason. And y'all are in the comments running with probably 2 seconds of what I said and saying your whole heart's desires that you've been wanting to tell every African that you've ever met in your life. And it's so funny, because we're literally two sides of the same damn coin with the same damn oppressor, but yet you're in my comments being anti-Black, because that's what that is. Black Americans, some of them, not all of them, the very ignorant ones who have a struggle for power against immigrants, sound just like white people. Full of hatred, full of narcissism, and unfortunately, it's because y'all are from America. You don't believe that Blackness exists outside of this world, and that to me is crazy. Knowing that you are the minority in America and you're not even privileged in America or have any power whatsoever. Having media power, having the buying power does not mean that you have the power to make decisions over yourselves. So at the end of the day, I'm just letting you know, if you want to separate yourself and call yourself Black Americans versus Africans, that's fine. But just know that there's always a source. There's always a source, and denying that is just delusional. And at this point, I'd rather you believe your delusions than fight every single one of you to try to give you some knowledge. Even if you are an indigenous Black person, aka your Native American blood was on this soil before slavery happened, my dear, you understand Pangea? Wait, let's bring it back to history class. Do you understand Pangea? Do you understand that the first person was founded by fossil fuel evidence in Ethiopia, my honey? Do you know before the Great Migration from the southern post-slavery to the north was not the first migration to happen, my dear? And then religion plays a big part, because depending on what you believe on is depending on where you believe Adam and Eve first were, and where the Garden of Eve was first made up. Sweetheart, darling. Because then that would mean wherever that was, that's where the migration started into the rest of the world. And the funniest part is the fact that y'all are speaking your colonizers' language. And I say y'all because a lot of them were like, well, what are you speaking? How am I supposed to communicate with you? Yapalawobo? Wapalawobo? I speak Pele. I speak my native language that dates back to pre-colonial time. Pre-colonial meaning before colonialism, meaning before Europeans came in and attacked us. So at the end of the day, it's not about separation. Forces that y'all built for.
Y'all can lie to yourself all you want, but them features don't lie. Baby, y'all definitely definitely African.
Absolutely. And this is actually a conservative estimate. And here's the thing, because Black Americans in this country, yes, we experienced an ethnogenesis, but if you look at how quick the birth rates were, this resulted in Black Americans having very deep roots in what is today called America. Even if I were to be relatively conservative and say that, let's just assume that my earliest Black foremothers from 1619, when the first slave ships arrived to America, the first documented slave ships arrived in this country, until my birth in 1996, had a child at 18. So one foremother had another ancestor at 18, who had another at 18, and had another at 18. That would actually put me at a 21 or a 21st generation American. And the craziest part about it is that that's only tracking our Black maternal line, let alone our indigenous or European lines. Unfortunately, our enslaved Black foremothers were forced to carry children at a very young age, in many cases the moment they hit puberty. So the birth rates in the generations quickly stacked up. And I've done the ancestry DNA test based off of the contributions from European ancestors from various parts of Europe, and my African ancestors from various parts of Africa, and even my indigenous ancestors, and even my South Asian ancestors, different story for a different day. That all points to a profile that is heavily rooted in America. So I was talking to my grandfather about this last night, and he agreed. He's a principal and a teacher, but he said that yes, the ethnic Black American is a biracial ethnicity because we are not only African, and it does not matter how dark or how light you may be, or if you're like me and you don't have a single recognizable white ancestor in your recent family tree, there's a white pappy there somewhere. And it's all documented. Black Americans, our historical record, we have one of the longest paper trails because of how obsessive America was with tracking and filing and keeping up with Black life at various stages of development or in the American chattel slavery system, or that goes back as far as that of the slave, the child of the slave, those of us, the FBA, run. The Freedmen's Bureau, the Freedmen's, Smithsonian Bureau, precisely exist because it was meant to develop and track Black Americans for the record. I've said all of this in other videos, and I don't want to keep, beating the same point over and over again, but had there not been segregation and Black Americans and white Americans and other ethnicities were able to marry earlier, we'd look like Brazilians. We'd be way different. The reason Black Americans or African Americans, as you may call us, the reason we look predominantly African or more African, some of us, is because of segregation and how we were forced to marry and have children from our own. Many of us have very deep roots.
I feel like I have to confess. I feel like I have to say what happened. It's been a few days and I've been doing some processing on a scenario that took place, right? As Black people, it can be kind of stressful sometimes being Black in situations, particularly when you're the only one. And particularly in work and professional situations where somebody ends up saying something, doing something which just ain't okay. And as a Black person, you've got a very short window in order to process, deal with what's happening, and then make some kind of acknowledgement and response to what's happening. And it's tiring. It's so tiring. It's like we have to go out into the world and be constantly reminded that we're different, and that, don't react to the fact that we might be being a little bit discriminative. Don't react. I'm just saying what I think, all right? And you're like, oh my God, no. Do I have to do this again? All right, so I was in a situation, right? And I was the only one of me. And the cardinal sin happened, They touched my hair. They touched my hair. Brethren, they touched my hair. And they were like, oh, it's beautiful. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do you know why? It's like you're being petted. Like you're an animal from the zoo and somebody's going, ooh. That's not okay. We're human. Let's be respectful, Yeah, okay, even if you don't like us, it's okay. Still, let's be respectful, And some people think it's okay, it's appropriate, but it's not. It's not appropriate. Because I've noticed that I've never seen anybody do that to a woman who wasn't Black. Like touch the hair and go, oh my God, it's beautiful. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's just not okay. Or make the assumption that, oh, God, how long does it take you to do that? Does it matter? No, but does it actually matter? Do you really care how long it takes me to do my hair? Why? Why am I having to explain how my hair is done? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not complaining, right? I'm not complaining. I ain't complain. Anyway, it's very stressful. And then there's the assumption I get. And they say, well, how long does it take you to put it on? To put what on? I'm like, what? To put what on? What did I put on? Your hair. I didn't put it on. I didn't put it on. Oh, so how did you do it? It's my hair. Oh my God, it's all your hair. Yes. Black women have long hair. Yeah, we do. We don't buy hair. And it's okay if you do buy hair. Do you know what I mean? If you do buy hair, you buy hair. Fine, that's your business. I'm not here to tell people how to live their life. What I'm here to do is to say to people who aren't black, who might be having some black friends over Christmas or enjoying the weekend of some point, and you might see them and you might see a black woman. She might have amazing long hair or not. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't pet her. We don't want to be petted. It's very anxiety provoking, right? Because there's this bit that says, you are so different, and I'm going to highlight it. Now, let me explain to you why. The one thing that separates people from African descent to everybody else in the world is our hair. And there's lots of issues and controversial about it. So I choose to wear my hair natural and display it in its natural, the way that it is naturally, because I'm proud of my heritage and I love my hair. But that doesn't mean I disrespect anybody who doesn't. It's just my personal choice. I understand it might be different. It might be wow to some people. And I appreciate that because I love my hair and I love dreadlocks. I love locks. I love afro hair. But it really does take the piss when you decide that you're going to put your hands in my hair and tell me it's beautiful, like I should be happy and feeling welcomed and accepted by that. It's kind of rude. And it's really anxiety provoking because as a black person, as a black woman, when you're the only one, you got a very short window in which to process and respond. And I found myself when this woman did it, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And she touched it like this. It's beautiful. She thought it was okay. And I looked at her like this and I was like, oh, it's calm down. It's calm down. It's not okay, people. It's taken me a few days to actually accept that it's not okay, and it's okay for me not to be okay, and let you know. And I thought I would share that. Don't touch the hair.
Okay, I need all of my black Americans to really tap in because I have something that is really going to shake the whole city up. Like, really talking about take the diaspora wars to a whole nother level. Me, a 32, almost 33-year-old Southern black American gal, like, it does not get no more Southern black and American than this, has been in a relationship with her significant other who is East African for the last 4 years, right? Now, he cook his dishes, I cook my dishes. Yesterday, I cooked collard greens, right? I had my smoked turkey necks, I had my onions, and my seasoned water that I had boiling for a full hour as I prepared and washed the collard greens as we usually do. After getting a full hour of, boiling and getting the stock just right, I add my greens to the pot so that we can begin to cook down the collard greens as we usually do. As I'm cooking, my man is like, how are you cooking the greens? I said, I'm cooking collard greens how black Americans cook collard greens. Now, for reference, if I haven't already mentioned, my man is East African. He prefers sauteed greens. Perfectly fine, they're good like that. But yesterday I wanted collard greens, and you do not saute collard greens the way that I want my collard greens, right? So hours go by, right? Mind you, this is still day one of the pot, and like the collard greens get good day two. Hours go by and I catch him putting the food up. As I get to the tail end of him putting the food up, I am watching him from afar, and I didn't catch him in time, right? He literally is dumping all of the juice out of my collard greens. Like, okay. This was yesterday. I'm still like just shook to shit because
This man dumped the juice out of my collard greens. Okay.
We were literally obsessed with Black America.
Hey yo, what's good, y'all? So, if you go back and watch his full video, that creator, he's talking about the relationship between Black Americans and people from Africa, and he's talking about how influential African Americans were on African culture where he's from. Like, basically, he's talking about how African Americans had a strong influence on the culture of his particular country on the African continent. And he's basically saying that, like, when he was growing up in his country, people in his country, Africans in his country, were obsessed with Black Americans. And, like, that video kind of made me smile a little bit. Because he said he basically was talking about how influential Black Americans were and how in Africa, in his country, they copy all the trends that Black Americans do. They mimic everything Black Americans do. Like, they were extremely obsessed with us. It just really made me think about how, y'all know how, like, when people from Africa come to the United States, right? And they, you know, a lot of African immigrants do come here and dog Black Americans. Like, they trash talk us so bad. And when we bring up the fact that people from Africa act like they don't like Black Americans, one thing that they always try to throw in our face is, oh, well, y'all called us African booty scratchers in elementary school. And we just be looking at them like, wow, that's so petty. Like, you don't like Black Americans as an adult because African Americans, you know, picked on you in elementary school. Now, stay with me. I feel like that's legit. So this man was talking about how obsessed people in his country are with Black Americans. So let's say, imagine you grew up in a country in Africa, and you know, you grew up in a country where there's nothing but Black people around you, but a lot of the Black people around you live in like oppressive situations where like the Europeans have come and they have scrambled for Africa, and what they left behind was squabbage that the people are still fighting to get through. And you turn on your TV and you see all of this Black greatness on TV from these Black people who are from America. You see them on your television, you hear them on your radio, you follow all of their trends, you follow all of their styles, and then you learn about them in history books. And then you learn how these Black Americans are connected to you because of the transatlantic slave trade. We are the descendants of the warriors who got taken away. And say you view these Black Americans almost like your long lost cousins, these great amazing people you see on TV. And then America is this great amazing country where Black people can go and succeed. America is this great country where Black Americans fought for people to have rights and privileges and opportunities. Then you come to the United States of America like as a child, and your very first time interacting with Black Americans, your very first time, you know, interacting with these people that you like, that you view them as like the people you see on TV, and you come to America as a child and you're interacting with these people in America, these African Americans that you see on television. They're so cool, they're so trendy, they're so stylish, they're so influential, and it's your first time interacting with them, and you don't get nothing that resembles love. They pick on you because of your accent, they make fun of you because you're different, they call you names, they call you African booty scratcher, and the treatment that you receive from them is not love. It's like you spend most of your primary school days being picked on and bullied by Black Americans because you're from Africa. Now, we know that that is a problem with colonization. We know that that is a colonized mindset that causes Black American children to pick on kids who are from Africa, right? But imagine the hurt that you would experience. Imagine the hurt that you would feel when you grew up in a country where you grew up obsessed with Black Americans and Black American culture, and then you come to the United States of America, this land of opportunity, and your first time interacting with these people that you grew up being obsessed with, they're bullying you and picking on you, and you deal with this all of your primary school years, you deal with this all the way through high school until you become an adult, when Black Americans have finally started decolonizing themselves, and we're saying, oh, we all need to get along, you know, we've all been colonized. And then they're talking to you about how you don't like Black Americans, and you say, well, you guys called us African booty scratchers in schools. You guys teased us. You guys made fun of us. And then those same Black Americans are telling you that you being upset because African Americans bullied you in school is silly. Imagine the hurt that they would feel. I feel like as African Americans, we always are talking to the diaspora about how they treat Black Americans, because a lot of people in the diaspora really do treat Black Americans like shit when y'all come to our country. But I also feel like as African Americans, we should take accountability for how our American mindset has caused us to view people who are Black from other countries almost as if they are less than us. Like, because, like, let's be real, like, America did teach us that kids in Africa are African booty scratchers. Like, America did teach us negative things about Black people from other countries. And I feel like as African Americans, if we want the diaspora to heal, we cannot just sit around and continue to complain about people from other countries looking down on us if we're not going to take accountability for how we made some of them feel when they first came to this country, especially when we were all children. We know that children have a hard time processing feelings, right? And that when you become an adult, the things that happened to you as a child become a part of your core memory. A lot of people from other countries, their core memories are them growing up in countries where they admire and are obsessed with Black Americans, and then coming to America as a child to be bullied, picked on, and outcasted by African Americans. Watching his video just kind of put some things into perspective for me. Like, it really made me think, like, the hurt that African immigrants feel when they come to America and they're outcasted by Black Americans. Like, it is kind of legit, because you grew up in a country where you were obsessed with these African Americans and you viewed us like your long lost cousins who lived across the sea and then came here to be rejected by them. It kind of makes sense why you would grow up feeling some animosity towards us. It does. And I feel like as African Americans, we should take accountability for that.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for watching all of that clip that I've been able to put together for you guys, and let me know what you think in the comment section. The truth is, like I said, respect is given to whom is due, and respect is reciprocal. In every single diaspora war that I've seen between Black Americans and Africans, I feel like we Africans ignited a lot of them to some extent, because we Africans never saw anything good with Black Americans, right? And if you check in the other clips that I've been able to roll out for you guys, you can also hear where some Africans are also saying good things about Black Americans. So it simply means if you're experiencing the bad parts of Black Americans, you are automatically bad as an immigrant. Because you are not the only one in America, but other people were still able to say something good about Black Americans. The problem with Africans is that they idolize white people. I keep saying this in my video because I see this from even the angle where I am right now as an African lady. They value white people so much. They value anything that don't have melanin popping skin. They value anything that will go into the sun and turn red or green or pink. They value them so much to the point that anything that any other Black Americans are saying, they don't care. You value me, I value you. You do not value me, do not expect me to value you. So if some people are saying the good part of Black Americans, I've seen videos where some people would literally said, if not for Black Americans, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I wouldn't have survived the level that I've survived. I've seen a lot of people. And also, I'm also a product of a Black American woman, right? And with all my life that I've been able to spend with her, I've been able to see how compassionate she is. And it is that compassion that a lot of Black Americans have that is making a lot of Africans to look down on them. Africans want to idolize white people and expect Black Americans to idolize them. Things doesn't just work that way. If you want me to respect you, you have to respect me. If you want me to give it to you, you have to give it to me. So I feel like the earlier a lot of Africans realize and adjust, the better for us. Because one thing I will keep preaching is we as Africans and Black Americans are one. We are one. We are supposed to love each other. We are not supposed to fight one another. We are supposed to even stand by one another in terms of issues, in terms of problem. So do not just always expect Black Americans to be good to you, while at the end of the day, you are not good to them. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to add up. That's the honest truth. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section, and credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.